Been quite the day, I tell you.
What's Friday?
It's Friday. I got a really early morning podcast to do. It's 9 a.m. Yeah, he wanted to be here at 8:30. I was like, bro, that's pushing it. I'm still, lubing gears and getting rid of frog voice. I was like, 9 is the earliest I could do. Is that bad?
I don't know. I'm an early bird, so I get up around probably 6, 5.
Holy moly.
But I got to go to work tomorrow. I got to do overtime, so.
Well, thank you for making it over. We're sitting here having, once again, amazing chat. And that's where I was like, dude, we got to stop and we got to kick this off and just talk. So with that being said, welcome to UNMUZZLED CHAT. If you guys don't recall, this is my good friend Jesus over here. Give it up for Jesus.
Yo, what's up?
I wanted to see what your reaction was going to be to a silent audience because we can't hear them right now.
Oh, I hear the clapping in
okay.
Or the applause, right? There you go.
We'll ramp it up for you.
Thank you.
You're good. It's always fun to get some extra background music when you kick it off. Get the rust out of these gears. But man, it was pretty cool because like here we were talking depression, talking like the threat, and the war machine, mainstream media, and this and that. And you were cautioning me like, man, well, won't that get you in trouble? Won't that get you like in what way? Deplatformed? Because the whole idea with UNMUZZLED CHAT is that there's no word or topic we can't say. Now, obviously, there's certain words that would just be cruel or evil, and we don't want to dive into any of that. Or threats. Like, we can't. Obviously, no one should do anything illegal and threaten.
Right.
But other than that, as far as topics, having these conversations and getting people's even input or their beliefs out there, guys, there should be no reservations and walls, like rip all that down, barriers. Should be able to talk about it all.
Yeah, I don't know. We're not in that type of world anymore. Everybody's scared to go and like say what they feel or be open, be human.
I need to work on this analogy, but like when it comes to like censorship and certain topics, like the whole scary notion of stopping the spread of misinformation, or disinformation, like, wow, put someone in the seat of determining what is in fact right, what's true and what's not. But that's dangerous because like for a second, like that means like no, like we should be given the ability to even put out fictional content, not true content. If it isn't hurting anyone, under satire, sarcasm, joking, all that stuff, like you cannot put a limit on free speech.
No, but when you have people that are actually gonna believe the fictional stuff that's coming out, and then you're creating chaos. I mean, fictional is fictional, but at the same time, you have to give a warning. Hey, this is not real. This is my opinion. This is my assumption. This is me saying what I believe, and then, but
I mean, is there that disclaimer on films? Not, I mean, kinda. I guess some are classified fiction, this and that, but that's basically no institution should be put in that seat. Like it is essentially like a theater being like, we'll only play truthful films. Even a story based on a film based on a true story, they're gonna add their little flair and whatnot. And so who's determined? But fiction as a whole, Are you kidding me? Even for entertainment purposes, there should be no limitations on our speech. If it isn't directly, intentionally hurting anyone, no limitations. And as far as confusion, this and that, no, it shouldn't even be. In fact, that's how you find out what's right and what's wrong, by having everything on the table. Because once you start censoring, once you start controlling, now it's creating confusion as to what's right, because you're not even getting the full everything.
Yeah, but see, here's the thing. So I don't think it's a problem about actually having free speech. It's the problem
Yeah.
with actually people doing their own homework. People actually going and
Yes.
actually asking the questions. Hey, is this real or is this not?
Yes.
Anything they hear, they automatically believe.
Yeah.
And so people now are not learning to ask questions anymore. I think that's where we're being conditioned.
Yeah.
Ever since you were a kid, and I think I said this before, you learn to go ahead and actually say, or you tell your kid, hey, don't ask questions. Hey, follow
Right.
what you said, or go ahead.
No, you're good. It's there's a big difference between this is the truth, rah, and there's only one other side really to this day that's saying, don't take my word for it.
Do your own
Do
research.
your own research.
You're right.
Evil would never do that unless they, in fact, controlled all the information, because they know the outcome would be in their favor. So that's why the other side, like the side that's telling you, no, 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 the ones that are trying to stop misinformation, it's coming from one side. Okay? And we could actually play this clip. Like, Jesus is freaking so awesome. He just sent me this last night, right? Last night.
Yeah,
Let's
last
play this
night.
thing.
I had to show you another one.
About who's moderating this debate. This should be Tucker
This
Carlson,
sums
Joe
it up
Rogan, and
right
Elon
here,
Musk.
folks.
We'd have 10 times the viewership, asking questions that GOP primary voters actually care about, and bringing more people into our party. You think the Democrats, and we've got Kristen Welker here, you think the Democrats would actually hire Greg Gutfeld to host a Democratic debate? They wouldn't do it. And so the fact of the matter is, Kristen, I'm going to use this time because this is actually about you in the media and the corrupt media establishment. Ask you, the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real, or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go. Mr. Ross.
Ooh.
This is how we get our country back.
Yeah, but that's true.
Right there highlights the danger of censoring misinformation and disinformation, because the ones that are the loudest about stopping the spread of misinformation and disinformation, in fact, themselves are the ones spreading misinformation and disinformation, screaming the loudest about it. And what happened to accountability? He calls them out on the own, and crickets, they can't answer. No accountability. If that isn't telling, that's so telling.
See, there's so much I want to go like put on the table for that, but it's kind of like hard because
It's a lot.
it is a lot. I mean, society's basically kind of built like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't educate, if schools don't educate you on the things that are more important, like financing, like debating, like asking questions, anything like that, then
Yes.
you're going to go out into the real world and not know how to handle it.
Right. It's healthy to question everything. And it's a good idea to
Well-
question everything and do your research.
But so why is it they don't teach you those things in school?
Because our schooling program, newsflash to those that don't know, has been infiltrated.
Yeah, but it's been infiltrated for how long? It's always had some kind of gimmick to actually condition people to be a certain way.
I mean, see, this is where I loved, because I mean, everything ties into, and there's so many profound things we could, and that's why they're trying to rewrite history. But going back in time, so we don't repeat. It's one of the best teachers, just history, kind of like in our lives, our personal lives. It's so important. I mean, otherwise we're fulfilling the very definitions of insanity when, we don't get a desired outcome. So it's by design. And as we even talked on depression, just off the air and all these things, you're like, man, I don't. And I think we're slowly moving the needle to solutions off air where, yeah, you may have this potential strong stance that might challenge people with their views and whatnot because you're like, wow, with the most horrific real world problems, real issues, like, but there's a big difference from the way the world was then and the way the world is now. And it's through these war machines, it's through, we have created weaker people. And through this information age, evil has effectively used things to confuse people and polarize things and victimize themselves and feed pride and ego and all these things that have been destructive.
So when you have someone that's confused and occupied with social media, their own vices, going ahead
Yeah.
and shopping, whatever it is, well, that's an easier way for, like you said, for someone to infiltrate because you're occupied somewhere else and they're just going for the pot of gold. And but it's a system. It's a tactical. It's a tactic to actually go and actually get infiltrate your home. I mean,
Right.
it's just all right. So this country has shown unfortunately, like, hey, we're Americans. Like, we're in the greatest country in the world, right? But at the same time, there are higher people and higher powers that are actually going and controlling the system, the one percenters. Yeah, sure, why not?
Or an Izzy.
Either one. But we're so distracted with our riches. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We're so distracted with our luxury
Yes.
compared to other countries that are poor.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd rather go ahead and work for these things, create debt, and now I'm an actual slave to the system because
Mhm.
for the rest of my life I have to
Yes.
pay into this program. When basically, if I paid everything cash, if I was smart with my financing,
Right.
then
And not depend on that system. Yes.
I don't
You'd
have a
be so
master.
much better.
Exactly, right?
Yes.
The system's created to unfortunately keep people in check
Yes. By design,
by
not
design.
by accident. This was all intended.
You're right.
That's one of them branches actually we didn't even identify the financial pressures and that side of things that can lead into that depression kind of mentality even, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Wow. Yeah, it's so crazy. They're literally trying to rewrite history, demonize America for and highlight these things. It's so toxic. You actually look into the positive side of things and everyone fleeing these other countries and kings and queens and where dictatorships truly ran supreme and the whole concept and wars were even fought obviously on this soil
Freedom.
for freedom
Right.
and everyone on that constitution, like, I love how Charlie even puts it and stuff like that is kind of next to the Bible, the longest lasting piece of legislator throughout the kind of history to this day. Yet again, like, it's there, but so much of it isn't functioning as designed right now because we have been infiltrated and our rights have been on that very document suppressed 100%. And that's, you know, that's why, like, with the First Amendment suppression, we
Right.
could go into that. Even 2A, same thing. They're trying to come. So it's crazy. Like, the whole idea, the people wanted to leave oppression. They wanted to leave these dictatorships and kings and queens and tyrannical rule where they were dictating the very infrastructure of their lives and limiting. You know, there was a tier, a tiered. What would you call that? A whole divide. There are people up here. There are people down here. And by design, they wanted to always keep it, and they wanted out from all that. And they fought and they bled, and every single person that signed on that declaration or that document suffered the consequence.
See, I got into a little
Yeah.
debate or discussion with someone on that. So When they built the Constitution and you had an agreement with the president serving a term, why isn't anybody else had to do the same thing?
On the original.
And why do we
Yeah.
have people in Congress that can serve a lifetime term?
True.
And like it seems like why wasn't it set up for everybody to have a certain amount of time in office?
Yeah, that was a flaw. It should be. I mean, they weren't meant to be life long positions. They were more so viewed originally as like volunteered for maybe a season, a year or two, right? It wasn't ever designed to be. And corruption has made it so it's lifelong, because that was the start in ways of zero accountability. It's pretty crazy. There's a few extra things like checks and balances I feel we could put into place. Now, I'm pretty much a chimp on the whole true infrastructure, but I can grasp
Right.
what our founding fathers essentially beautifully did here, right? And did they nail it right out the gate? Unfortunately, no. And that's why the Civil War and things like that took place. So we abolished slavery, right? Because that was wrong. That was evil. We can all agree to that. However, to go back, like I touched on this other episode, and do reparations now, like, wow, guys, there's a bigger issue. This is a diversion tactic to keep you away from even grasping a bigger moment in time that now exists, where slavery is in fact a bigger issue now than it was ever in the past.
Oh yeah, it's a different type of slavery, but now it's a
Yeah.
bigger one.
Right. So that's part of, say, by design, the strategic design to keep us all being weaker, because instead of addressing healthily like these past times, rewriting history in this negative light versus the beautiful light it actually has, it's just feeding into kind of this, oh man, like free handout, creating a weaker culture and people than you even try to grasp it and personalize it. You just want to forever, a comparison, you just want to forever let that childhood experience and bullying haunt you for the rest of your life? Or are you going to finally address that, rewire it, be grateful you made it through it, and okay, find a solution, gym, karate, something along those lines, where it's like, yeah, that'll never happen again. So in fact, you moved on, you're focusing on the now, you're focusing on the future, and you feel more confident in your own skin to where that's never going to happen again.
But see, you hit the nail on the head, because, all right, so more they it's making it harder for people to actually do sports like in schools. So they're removing. I think they were trying to remove wrestling, and they were trying to remove other sports out of there. It's too dangerous. I don't know. It's too violent. Whatever. But the thing is, it's like when you went into a sport in school, when a parent puts a kid in a sport, holds them accountable, and actually helps them like achieve their goals there, they learn so much from those teammates. They learn so much discipline.
Right.
They learn
Right.
so much
Principles.
brotherhood, so much
Yeah.
goal. They become very goal oriented. When they're left to their own vices at home, after school, whatever, they're running amok. I mean, you don't know what they're doing. I mean, they're in a world where it's a lot more dangerous, in my opinion, because you have worse drugs now than what it used to be a couple of decades ago.
Yeah.
Where basically, I mean, there's so many dangers now, and in reality, you're gonna hear the same thing. Back in the '80s, there were so many dangers then. It's just it wasn't publicized like it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But there are worse drugs out there now. There's worse situations, in my opinion. But
Right.
Men, and I'm talking about men, they need more brotherhood. They need more areas where they're actually able to bond with other men. Freaking, you throw them outside. If they get in a fight, let them fight. I mean, the thing is, it's after the fight, then they go ahead and actually dust their pants, and then they
Right.
squash it. That's it. That's there. I would say there's less violence when it comes to that because you're handling it right then. You lose,
Yeah.
well, you get up and you go and try again later. But at the same time, it's like you don't know. It's kind of like cubs. When you have like cub some little tigers or wolves or dogs or whatever, they're wrestling, they're fighting, they're finding themselves, right?
Right,
They're
yeah.
learning how to develop themselves and everything. But when you don't allow that, even with boys,
Right.
then you have lost men.
Mm.
And I mean, I don't know about women, but I mean, I'm talking about men. We have lost our direction.
In a lot of the same ways, I think that reigns true with women too. They're more so. It's crazy. I keep jumping, ping pong in my brain, like, wow, go
Yeah.
back in time because like you grasped so much with the book. That book. What's that book title? What's that called?
Meaning of man, man's meaning of.
It was really, yeah, it was really good. And I thank you for sending that to me in a really tough time.
That's a great book. You're right.
Right. How these POWs essentially could find light amongst hell we can't really even articulate yet imagine, right? Being POWs, but they found meaning in those moments. And then after the war, like you were saying, there was less suicide and depression and things of that nature in comparison to today. But we have so much more now than, like, comparatively speaking, than these people after that war. Like, so what is it to hone in on? What are all the changes?
We need purpose. We need some kind of substance where we're fighting for. Otherwise, if we don't, we lose sight of what
Mm,
is the meaning of life. So that book is Man's Search for Meaning,
mm,
and it's by Viktor Frankl. He was someone he was a doctor, a psychologist that was in a concentration camp that saw horrific things, and when the war ended, he still survived, and he was able to go and help many people, and at the same time help himself. He went ahead and documented a lot of his life while
right.
he was in the concentration camp, which is amazing because you saw, again, horrific things. But for a time like that, where you can imagine the unthinkable
Mm,
and still be able to stay somewhat optimistic and survive, where again, that was like the one of the worst times in history. I mean, there was many more, and I'm not a historian, um but during that time, the suicide rate after the war, the suicide rate was still minimal to what it is now. Why?
right. That's a very good why question.
People are dying like to the thousands. And again, I saw a fact recently, and I can't give you exactly where, but it was from 1939 and 1944. 1,000 people were dying per hour. It's crazy to imagine how, like, adding all that up and everything. But
Mm,
at the same time, it's like they were dying not intentionally. I mean, they were dying because of everything was happening, being murdered, but
war.
war. But now we're what I mean. You know the problem. You know exactly what the problem is.
I mean, they're trying to wrap us up in war. It's no secret that that's a big money laundering type of
100%.
situation and control and a diversion tactic as well. To get that's why it's like pump the brakes on friggin' Israel and all this Ukraine and all this stuff. Are you kidding me? We have an invasion happening here. Why are we more so focused on borders elsewhere when the fentanyl on the border and things we've already covered here? Try and play footsies with me?
Am I touching your foot?
I don't know. That was my knee there. No, that's good. It's a small space, y'all.
Later.
Small space. That's funny. Um, yeah, that why. Holy smokes, to really hone in on that. I mean, fact is, once again, just came by and we just started talking. It's not like we came really prepared. on, oh, let's answer that why, you know, but it's definitely, and we do know why, right? Evil, like the reality of what they fled, our founding fathers followed. Because once America became established, guys, you got to understand the blessing to the world it became, but the threat it became to these dictators and these rulers. America became the biggest threat to them because, wow, we became a very blessed nation and a very powerful nation because, like, wow, when our economy was just booming and people, I mean, were really engaged, like in meaning, like they had everything to live for, everything to get engaged in and start up a business, and there was just no famine mentality and everything just booming. There's no reason why that couldn't still be existing in not just in America but worldwide today. But there's a reason why, because those rulers and dictators and a lot of those evil individuals do not want to, because it's the greatest threat to staying on top.
Well, it's greed and power.
100%. Yeah.
Now, everything we say here, if you don't like it, this is where it's your job to do your own research.
100%. Yep. Yeah, it's so important. And actually dive into like real history. It'll be cool. Man, I just want to plug the Fall of the Cabal. Have you given that a fair shake?
I've watched some of it, but I haven't watched. There's a lot to it.
Oh yeah.
And so
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
slowly watching my episodes.
It didn't grasp your attention to be like, whoa, because when I went and dove into that one, I was like not addicted, but I was like, wow, I want to get through this. I found it fascinating.
You know what? I would admit that like a lot of the people, it's like so overwhelming knowing that there's a lot of stuff that goes down that where basically sometimes your system
It
wants to
becomes
shut down.
depressive, or you're like, nah, I want to stay away from that. It just
Like
overwhelming.
overwhelming. I mean, you when you jump into a rabbit hole, it's like it never stops.
You know what I view the rabbit holes is all as delusional thinking.
Mm,
It's staying out here and it's actually looking around as to the world like what it is.
mhm.
I think because a rabbit hole in my eyes is a limited place to go.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there's so
But
much
I
research
get-
that you go through.
I guess the rabbit hole initially was used as, maybe I need to stop fighting against that, because it was initially used as a healthy analogy to, hey, just a quick, easy way of someone saying, like, doing the research typically people aren't doing, right? And figuring out and going exploring something not everyone's exploring. And that's good. Kind of like Alice in Wonderland.
Right,
But
exactly.
but it's also gotten over time like this negative like it's almost paralleling this whole very weaponized phrase known as conspiracy theorists. You know?
See, here's the thing with conspiracy theorists. The definition of it is, I forgot. Go ahead and continue. I'm gonna look
No.
for it.
No, you're good. There's a part of that definition like the short version of conspiracy theory. It's we actually went over that in another episode recently. I think you'll freaking love it.
So right here it says a belief that some secret but influenced organization is responsible for an event or phenomenon. Oh, there was another one here. But a lot of times, I forgot what I was gonna say. A lot of times those theories actually turn out to be fact. It's
So I challenged in this previous episode that using,
mhm.
more so the people using that very word, are fulfilling that very definition by using the word. So the true conspiracy theory with the weaponized word from certain said sources that's using it left and right, they're more so fulfilling the definition than the very topic they're using to project it on, if that makes sense.
Well-
Because, like, to your point, more often than not, it's conspiracy proven fact.
It
true.
is. Well, when you put theory at the end of it,
Right here.
then it goes in discredits
Yeah.
what the information is being
Right
put
here,
out
Russia, 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 the very clip we just played.
as. Right.
Highlights one of those sources and zero accountability because at the point they put that label on these things
Wow.
and they became factually true, like or against, they were wrong. There was zero retractions. There was zero apologies. There was zero, we got it wrong. Here's the truth. There was none of that. And he's calling him out. It's, yeah, we really went into that. But once again, I don't think we could hit that nail hard enough because people are still tuning into those sources.
Well, yeah. Oh, I got to show you this other one. CNN actually going and saying, with the debate, was saying that this information does not mean that it's factual, and it had CNN on the bottom of it.
Oh my gosh.
I'll send you the video. When I find
Lies.
it was crazy. It's funny.
Lies.
But hey, I like Vivek Ramaswamy. I just,
Yeah.
I mean, everybody
Yeah.
has like game and knows how to speak, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I don't know. He sounds very promising.
He
Still,
does.
I
He
like
does.
Trump. Trump is very.
Yep.
Trump is very similar to Ramaswamy. I can't even say his last name.
You're good. Yeah. Man, it's so important that everyone does their freaking research. I can tell. I just hit a pretty heavy wall. I'm a mortal man. I have my limitations. I'm gonna get more comfy over here. I guess, yeah, because you're like, hey, how much time before this? Like, are you personally investing in this podcast? I was like, my life.
Well, I think it's
Everything.
awesome. I think it's healthy for you. If it's helping you, then that's awesome. I mean, it's keeping you out of trouble, keeping you out of drugs, right?
Oh, geez. I don't think that's a threat for me. Yeah, I've been over 6 years sober, and that was with everything but alcohol was my nemesis. And yeah,
Hey,
I'm
I'm proud of
glad.
you. I think that's awesome.
Thanks, man.
But at the same time, it's like, yeah, these are healthy little things that can help. I'm helping other people.
And that's the thing, man. What's fueling me? It's truly not about me. Genuinely trying to have that positive impact on tomorrow, and a lot of awesome feedback's coming back, man. So I'm definitely psyched in that regard. You know what? There's some rants in here, even not even. Oh, sorry guys. Not even some rants, like some old. I actually have some old topics in here, and of course, with this new phone, it's now a whole different visual. So why don't you fill the people in with something cool to say? I'm gonna try to look at something in here.
Awaken, but not woke. I like that.
Yeah, JP Sears. Have you seen some of his content?
No, I haven't yet.
So he's
He's
that kind of
the
redheaded comedian.
The comedian with the long hair. He
dude.
plays the hippie videos.
Dude, he's so good. Brings a lot of humor
Yeah, he was actually being canceled or trying to be canceled too.
on YouTube. I think he just moved everything to Rumble.
Did he?
I believe I saw something where he was doing a live stream.
But it's funny because if you go ahead and say something, I don't know, I want to say either factual, whatever, anything that's basically on the right, then automatically it's got to be canceled. But at the same time, if you say something that's very touchy or someone gets offended by it, you're gonna be canceled. Like no one has thick skin anymore. Like why can't Sticks and Stones? I mean, what happened with that?
Right.
But then the left can go and throw misinformation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's all one-sided. What's the word for that?
Hypocritical.
Yeah, but even more heavy-hitting. Hierarchy. It's a hierarchy. It's what it is.
I think what happens is everybody's so wrapped up in their lives that they just ignore it till it happens. So when your rights are being taken away, well, it's like you believe, oh, it'll never happen to me. But then when it gets to that point, it's like you're blindsided. You think you're blindsided when it was happening in front of you all this whole time. You got to take off those visors and actually start paying attention to what's out there. The problem with that is that it does become overwhelming. I mean, staying wrapped up on these politics, staying wrapped up on everything that's going on, it becomes kind of depressing.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe a lot of people ignore it just because they want to continue living their lives, and hopefully, if they don't pay attention, it won't happen.
Hmm. Hmm. Wow, this is interesting. I found quite a few. Oh my gosh, just all sorts of crazy notes. None of it's resonating with me right now to dive into, surprisingly. Holy smoke. Um.
Did you go to the gym today?
Nope. I walked to the grassy patch park area with the dog. Met an awesome pilot that happens to be a neighbor and would be pretty cool to have on potentially in the future. Talked chemtrails, and it's crazy. Even as a pilot, it's like we touch on some facts. Like there's a difference, like contrails, chemtrails. It's
Right.
indisputable between the two because there's a natural thing. Well, it's all unnatural, right?
Mhm.
Because we're putting that jet in the air,
They're chemicals.
right?
Right.
But there is, say, a difference between the spraying, so intentional, and more so like the natural jet with like the combustion and the depending on say the oh yeah, it's hard. It's getting hard for me to use words right now. I'll be honest. It's been a day, but like condensation and moisture and certain
Right.
components to where a contrail, it's nothing intentional behind that. It's just the jet going through, and it tends to dissipate pretty quickly. But he was saying that he's seen ones that oh boom, there goes a Southwest you know jet, and it's not dissipating right away, and he knows for certain like okay this is new news to me because all the documentaries I watched on this topic, which are worth watching by the way, and I actually have some links, maybe we can throw that in there, but like because there's a bunch of commercial jets and military jets that are filled with these vats, and they have all the nozzles, and it's no secret like GEO-Engineering, and under the guise of doing good. I mean, this is evil's favorite playground, wolf in sheep's clothing, right? Under the guise of doing good, the most evil and nefarious things, and you hear it from the scientists supposedly themselves that have been practicing or doing all this experimental. They downplay the level of their experiments, and they even try hiding some of the information as to or the chemical compounds in the structure as to like what they're actually spraying. So there's nothing conspiratorial about actual intentional spraying that's happening, right?
Right.
So now the question becomes like, okay, so if it's under the guise of doing good, like we should question, are the proper tests being done to ensure that in fact this is an effective, healthy thing to be doing? And the truth of the matter is no. And the scientists themselves have said that out loud, that no, they can't definitively say that this may potentially have a more negative impact down the line than actually a current or a futuristic positive effect. That's why it is under experimental, but we're allowing it to happen. And what's been proven with some of the makeup of what they're spraying is in fact extremely not just damaging to our cellular makeup as humans, but also plant life, animal life, all life. And that is gravely concerning. One of the substance being aluminum
Mm-hmm.
and some plastics. And there is a slew of other things they found, and you just have to dive into the documentaries to really do your own research.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing that sucks about it, because
Overwhelming. Is it that's a thing, the overwhelm? Okay, that's important to touch on with regards to any of these topics, whether it's the fall of the cabal, whether it's contrails, because I believe Follow the Cabal actually dives into contrails
Right.
pretty decently too.
Yeah, but at the same time, so you have other countries that go
Don't
ahead
be
and
overwhelmed. Don't.
well,
Don't.
it's not that. It's like what battle are you able to fight? Because why are other countries
Yeah.
ban certain products
Yes,
food wise?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
then here we allow that. I know one of the things was macaroni and cheese. If you look at
Ketchup.
we talk about that already? Yeah, we
Oh,
did.
I don't know. It's just one
So,
of the real basic ones.
if you
like
look at
sugars.
Canada, well, yeah,
It's
Canada's
crazy.
ketchup is the exact same ketchup as the one that is brought here.
It's literally illegal.
Hunt.
It's illegal.
Hunt's
You can't
ketchup.
even take that stuff into those countries.
But if you look at the ingredients, it has tomatoes and vinegar and other stuff like natural stuff for the Canadian ketchup. But then over here you have what do you call it? High fructose corn syrup,
Mhm.
like all
A
other
laundry
chemicals,
list.
right?
And
Stuff
it's
you can't
ketchup.
pronounce.
It should be tomatoes.
Right? Why is it that we
Yeah.
allow certain things in this country that are gonna harm us?
I know why. Because people stopped doing their research. People blindly entrusted in all these things. Like, oh, the health organizations trustworthy, the FDA, the CDC, the government. Are you kidding me?
Right, but at the
We
same
haven't
time,
put the proper checks and balances in place to ensure that they aren't infiltrated.
but majority of us are lazy because even though you
Wrapped
know
up.
a a Big Mac's gonna kill you, you're still gonna eat it every single day.
No, never. I'll never for the rest of my life.
Yeah, but other people are gonna definitely do it.
Yes, that's true.
Hey,
I get your point.
Knowing that it's not healthy for them, knowing cigarettes are gonna kill someone, but at the same time they still do it. It won't
Well,
get me, but
Yeah.
eventually when it hits you, it's like, well, I didn't see that coming.
Well, because it's been proven that these sugars and fructose corn syrup and things of that nature, slowly they've added it into things to have an addictive outcome, and it proven, like it given the option, this or the natural stuff, we tend to, like, there's literally a draw to that other. Yeah.
No,
We're just being poisoned. In a way, what it's been is the frog analogy in the pot of water on the stovetop, slowly turning it up till it boils, right? But you drop him in, he's gonna hop out, right? He realizes what's happening there. That's essentially the why. And it's been happening effectively just due to, you touch on some things like, well, it got so good and we started focusing on these things and we became such self-serving creatures that we didn't start doing our due diligence. But so much of it, like the information age, has been a blessing and a curse in a sense.
100%.
Because that's but if it's a blessing if everyone does their sourcing on information, it's a curse if everyone blindly follows the liars and deceivers.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
It's manipulated.
You're firing me up a little here because these are very passionate topics and we're clearly.
We're kind of like jumping from one to the other, though. I mean, it's a good thing, but at the same time, it's like there's a lot of things that need to be put on the table.
Yes. And some people might be like, you know what? You need to get more organized. You need to get more structured. I'm here for, and I get that, but there's a lot of, I mean, come on. A lot of Joe Rogan's content's just, it's about him. It's just, hey, it's about you. Let's just sit here. Let's just sit here and talk. And look how effective that has become, right? There's even in our off the cuff number 2, there's literally intent in our conversation. We're seeking result. And that's what it is. What I covered on this other episode is people aren't to be dismayed. Like the episode of you are all more influential and powerful than you all know. And it's by doing you don't have to solely, singularly shoulder the burdens of all these things. And you could shift. This is the challenge you should have for yourself. You should shift. You have the opportunity right there at your feet and at your disposal in this beautiful information age. for now, if we don't utilize these sources and fight back against censorship, these things potentially could go away to where evil's like, okay, now you can go do your due diligence because they've effectively controlled everything, right? That's why I'm like, wow, I feel called to kick off podcast. Wow, we still can, because we could bring enough people here that they couldn't be effective in doing that. We wouldn't allow it. Too many people, no, they wouldn't get away with it. So, sorry, you had a couple times there you wanted to chime in, I could tell.
No, not at all. I'm sitting there listening. I'm trying to figure out how I can actually compete with that.
Oh, try and play devil's advocate. Well, let me touch more on it before you play devil's advocate, because the reality of it is just being excited, tuning in, doing your research, figuring out for you, for your immediate circle, your loved ones, and having the dialogue, having the conversations, you're doing your part. Because now you're going to be informed, you're going to be educated, you're going to support free speech. Like right now, I'm done with Pandora. I'm done with it. Like, that's the power we have. Pandora's still playing those COVID-19 as though that's healthy and good. F you, Pandora. F you. Seriously, get the freak out of here. You know what? I'll delete you off my phone right now. I mean, there's a few screenshots, in fact, I'm going to take. I'm going to take a few screenshots because I want some of my playlist, right? Like things I listen to carry over to these other things. But that's the power we have. So if we do our due diligence, and we can have subtle influence, because people just don't even realize, by your time, by your clicks, by your views, by your money, we could take away the war machine known as mainstream media. They can fund a dying network for a long time, given they being the 1% that represents thousands. Like, COVID was the largest distribution of wealth known throughout human history. There was over hundreds of new billionaires seemingly overnight that were created during that pandemic. And the wealthy got insanely wealthy. It's like what we touched on even with Pfizer, doing the largest criminal settlement throughout history, over $2.3 billion. But what I didn't even connect in that point as well is that, guys, still though, how are they in existence? Most companies bankrupt. They can't afford that type of criminal settlement payout. But if you actually asked them today, they'd be like, that was a good business model. Why? Because they made trillions on what they got criminally charged over.
Isn't Bill Gates is one of the owners for that, right?
I'd have to look it up. I'd have to do my due diligence. I mean, I can only retain so much. And I mean, that's just trying to expose things so we can. I mean, there's a lot of things about Bill Gates personally that are evil.
Oh, 100%.
That man is, I'm sorry, he under the Bill and Gates Foundation or whatever, under the guise of doing good and charitable, this or that, but it's a front. It's a front. They've done so much damage on everything. And follow the cabal. There's my receipt. Tune into the Follow the Cabal. They highlight it. They do such an effective job to where it has weight on you, is to showing the world the way. Like, it's essentially, I don't know, from the political arena to an extent, but all these other things, from the health organizations, from the food supply, from the water supply, they do a great job bringing the receipts, bringing light to all these aspects to life that directly impact all of us and our families and our futures and everything. But we're not to be doom and gloom. We're to be excited. And do that research. Check out different sources. You'll realize, wow, we got to stop. And just by those little rules, by doing your research and having these little conversations, be like, wow, that was heavy. That was a bit scary. You can even fast forward, say, the darker stuff when they touch on child sex trafficking. I mean, that can put you in a dark place. And some men, my call to action is more so for men, because we are built different. That's just a fact. It saddens me that we live in a world that some women are championing and on the front lines, literally waging war against evil more so than a lot of men. I mean, there's a reason why historically men have been more so on those front lines in battle warfare and this and that, just due to not just even our physical abilities, but just testosterone and the way we're wired.
It's our instinct. It's
Yeah.
it's
Protector.
man's. Yeah, exactly. That's the role. That's what we're given, and it's
Right.
you know what? People are gonna hate it, but it's factual. I mean,
But
men are stronger
it's
than women.
beautiful. I mean, but there's some women out there that can outlift me, you
I-
know, and
I-
all sorts of things.
And
So
I'm not taking that away
yeah,
from women at
yeah.
all. Like, I mean, women are
There's some
again
powerful freaking women.
100% for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, they're strong. They take care of kids. They have a very important role.
Right.
They're
Yes.
protecting the kids, and then the man protects their family. I mean, it's
Just
it's
kinda
a it's
touching
a
on it overall, right? Just
well, it's a 50-50 thing. They
kinda
have to help each
stats.
other. They're complementing each other. You want to have
Yes. Yes.
right?
100%. Mm. Yeah, biblically even what's touched on with kind of like the way God wired us, and the difference is between the two sexes, male and female, and the roles. That's what's so beautiful, because through unity we gravely complement each other and can achieve so much more through that unity than we can really independently. And then obviously through communities and things of that nature too. That's where it's so important to not be dismayed, not let it, find that healthy balance and pay attention, be alert, be cognizant as to, oh wow, this is kind of having an impact. Like, I'm going to pause it, maybe say a prayer, maybe do a bit of what I love, maybe get some of this off my chest. But it's interesting. The more you actually dive in, or I have, it's like I was gifted the strength, the clarity, and a different level of resolve, to where I started having that shift where initially it had a doom and gloom effect, and I just wanted, world, freaking wake up, to, you know what? It just is the way it is. Like, I'm just excited to play the part I can in sharing and talking, and by just that subtle little Pandora, like, why am I even dealing with it? So here I am whining about it essentially, and it just hit me. I'm like, I'm gonna take action and delete it. And obviously, if more people did that, I mean, and I'm sorry, Pandora, I will never come back unless you publicly make it known so well that it's unavoidable. I'll come across your apology for perpetuating the delusion that this, in fact, was good for people. And I don't know how you're going to make that apology so compelling. I can forgive you, but so compelling, because just to say you did that and it took one person's life, one child's life, like, you influenced by doing that commercial, you influenced taking one, like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you just sunk your ship. I hope everyone leaves that platform and supports a new music platform.
See, and that's the problem, is that we have so many vice or
Little conveniences.
yeah, which is promoting Pfizer and the vaccine, and
I'm sure there's a music one out there that doesn't.
but so many people gave into it. Like, they just gave into it just because it was easier.
We stopped caring. We stopped caring. Watch died suddenly. You'll be like, "Oh, you're making a big deal out of nothing, dude." Watch died suddenly.
Well, so
And then tell me that.
yeah, but so why is it that at the very beginning of this crisis, you saw New York with vans and bodies just being put into like vans with freezers? I mean, and then all of a sudden, now we forgot all about that. That's not happening like what it was before. It's not a major problem. Shouldn't we still fear it?
It was made up, dude.
No, I agree.
Newsflash,
No,
it was
no.
made up. They
No, for
created
reals.
it. To this day, what is COVID? In my mind, what is COVID? They have yet to scientifically isolate it in the wild, meaning pull it from the air, pull it from this countertop. Got it. The PCR testing itself is defective. It's faulty. They ramped it up to so many cycles. That's why it was testing positive from water, vegetables, fruits, animals. In fact, you'd get the test, open it, close it, send it in, false positive.
Right.
You'd get it, you wouldn't even open it, send it in, false positive.
But do you still? But are you saying that?
So what's
real?
COVID? COVID in and of itself is as far as I know it, a construct. What is COVID? I do believe they released something on the
Agreed.
world. I
Agreed.
do.
A
I do.
virus that was man-made, and someone that
I
has
don't
his
even
name
know
on it. Oh
if
yeah,
it's
it was.
well, no, I don't even know if it's virus. It's bioweapon. It's biowarfare to a degree. That's what we can classify it. Because how do you even know it's a virus?
It was
Like,
a
what
weapon that was
data?
constructed by man.
Yes.
And
Gain of research, which Fauci lied to
Which
us on multiple
Fauci-
times.
exactly.
Yes.
exactly, and the guy's running free.
And it's unbelievable. More than likely, it was actually created on this very soil. More than likely from Fort Detrick. It could have been Plum Island, and more so
No,
sent over
I
because
still
there
think it
were
was
a lot of gain of research facilities right here on American soil that were
Oh, I don't
happening.
disagree with that, but
Yeah.
so many other countries have us over there playing, doing some very foul stuff over there.
Yes. You follow the money.
Yeah.
You follow the communications. Yeah, it's. Oof. I mean, that man is so crazy. You could play these clips back to back, and so many of these are Patriots with the means, with the, freaking editors and, researchers that are actually doing this homework, like Dan Bongino and Stu Peters and whatnot, where they're literally having that man, oh no, I never did this, and this next clip he's doing it, and all this stuff. It's unbelievable, and it's downright evil.
And he's still not behind bars. That's the
yes.
hard part, is because you're fighting with higher powers, and how are you
Dude,
supposed to go in
why?
and stop that?
Oh, why is that even a looming threat, bro? Their bank account scares you? Their connections to the government scare you? Bro, we're talking about a very limited number. Listeners, very limited number of people. Like the majority of the wealth.
Right.
Now, it used to lie within the middle class, which represented in this country hundreds of millions of people. Hundreds of millions of people. And for the first time in this country's history, it lies in the 1%, which is not even tens of thousands. Thousands. Like, not even high thousands, low thousands. Okay? Like, that scares you?
No,
Because the thing is that's ultimately, yes, they've infiltrated the government. Yes, they've weaponized like FBI and certain things like the Gestapo. However, bro, if we unite, if we do our research, we outnumber them in a way like, dude, we don't even need. Like, we can hold them account. We can start.
That's the thing. So,
Yes.
so like you said, like, does it scare me? No.
Yes.
Well, they're getting
yeah.
away with it. They're
Yeah.
getting away with it.
It is very upsetting to me
That's
that every
the
day
problem.
it goes
Exactly.
on and they're running free. That is very, very unsettling and upsetting to me. Yes. And ideally in a perfect world, but we don't live in that and we never will, right?
How
and
do you
we
hold
have
them
to come
accountable?
to terms with that. Bro,
Did you know
we're
Bill
doing
Gates
it.
owns,
You know what?
owns
You're
majority
doing
of the
it.
farming
Yeah. Oh, by
in the U.S.
strategy. Yeah. Surprise.
But
they're now
they're trying
going
to get
after,
rid of meat.
yeah.
They're trying to get rid of
Well,
cows. I don't know.
more than that, they're literally putting themselves in the seat of control of our actual food
Right.
production entirely in all of the things. It's like, if that isn't alarming, man, holy smokes. Yes. I mean, I do believe in a higher power, and there are some very comforting scriptures in the Bible that state. I mean, I need to have these on lock and even in memory, and have them up here to reassure even for me. But we're not like
So-
God's warriors are gonna be protected.
So here's the thing. So, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
Now, people need to regain faith.
Yes, it's number one.
Right. But at the same time, everybody has to understand that, and I don't know if it's the end of the world or not, but it seems like we're close to it.
Yeah, it does feel that way.
Anyways, it's a plan. It's supposed to happen. Everything's happening. All these these prophecies, everything that's actually coming to fruition, um, it's part of the plan. So as long as again you are righteous, as long as you're actually following to be a good man, good family member, good husband, whatever, as long as you're not lying to yourself or anybody else, then again, same, like our Savior's going to come and actually protect us. But we have to go through this because it's already written,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So again, it hopefully a lot. Hopefully, it's not our time. Hopefully,
Yeah.
we will hit righteousness, but you have to be aware and fearful of what's here to come. You actually gotta protect yourself.
See, that's the strongest foundation I feel like on obtaining this healthy balance as you go through this information. If you genuinely get a place of like health, like, or health obviously, but faith, and have that like foundational rock like behind you, there's a part of you that's like, okay, I'm actually walking out of faith, but I can't have my head buried in the sand and be ignorant, because I love what Socrates said. And that resonates with me, where there is one good knowledge and one evil ignorance. So, aligned with good, I want to fulfill that whole knowledge spectrum and sharing that, moving the needle in the right direction, for lack of better words. I need to find better expressions, or more of them, I guess. Um, More effectively in the right direction, to where we start holding people accountable, what pains me every day that goes by, those men and these institutions are operating the way they are, more people are being harmed, right? And I want to minimize that impact, and we can. So in one hand, we're living out of faith and everything's okay. I'm making sure I'm in alignment, but also having that impact to minimize, like, that's just so important. And that's what we're doing. And you're doing it right now, dude. You're doing your part. Are you kidding me? That's where we can't shoulder the burden entirely ourselves, and just have people take one additional step. Just one additional step. And we will be making progress. Things will change. It will come. And it almost becomes irrelevant whether that man here in the mortal life, or you name them, right? There's a whole laundry list of them, and women that have catered to evil, that essentially have sold their soul in this life for financial gain, for mortal gain. I will never sell my soul. Are you
Yeah, that's
kidding
true.
me?
Right.
Ever. And that's what the devil effectively does promise here, and and fulfills for people here. So it's no surprise. So even in this bleep in time, that faith can give me that strength, because it doesn't matter mortally whether or not we hold them accountable or they live out their whole life free, because this is not even a bleep in time. I mean, you think about it, 100 years. Think about on all those prior generations. So many prior generations where they got wrapped up in their own, depression, or they got wrapped up in their own stubbing their toe pain, right? And that's how silly it is. It doesn't even matter how big in that moment, in a way, it was for them. Like, that's generations ago. Like, but, so it's just this bleep. Like, and I am convicted that there's an afterlife. I'm convicted, God, Satan. I mean, it makes all sense when you really dive into it. So it's like it just really becomes irrelevant to holding these people accountable. It would be nice to see while we're here, and we can effectively do that with proper uniting. We could do that tomorrow. It's just having that impact of organizing, have that impact of waking up. Um, but what weighs on me is the ones that are negatively impacted and struggling and suffering right now due to the tyrannical influence.
Right.
That's more what I'm on fire for than even, say, having having a man be locked away. Like, helping those that are being negatively impacted from, say, even that man that's causing that impact. That's more important to me. than having someone held accountable. Because in a way, it's like, yeah, we are to fight evil in this world. We're called to, in a way, through biblical doctrine. But I mean, if we can limit like the suffering, like that's more important. Obviously, it's all kind of one of the same. If we could do it all in unison, great, even better, right?
You kind of got me right now. I'm trying to think.
Got you in a good way?
No, in a good way. You're right. Like right now, I think I've been a little bit pessimistic, and that's not me. I think more. I think a lot more in the past years. I've been more trying to be more optimistic,
Yeah.
but I always have to see both sides. You
Yeah.
you can't be prepared just being optimistic all the time and not being prepared for what might happen. And I don't know. I mean, that's what I love about you is that you're extremely optimistic. You're always trying to fight for the right.
I got
And
my moments. I'm a human. I'm defective.
yeah, but dude, like you don't stop fighting, and I appreciate that, and I think that's awesome. And I feel that I used to be that way too, and I am trying to be that way, but sometimes, again, like I said before, it becomes overwhelming where basically your life consumes you, where you have to go and make sure that you're providing for your loved ones. And so then you're trying to keep up with this, and
Yes.
then cost of living goes up, and then
Bro. Bro.
life goes up, and then you have all like, how are you supposed to continue going? You become like exhausted from all that. But at the same time, you have to remember there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Well, well, I mean, hopefully, but
Guys, help me help you. There's a reason. I appreciate your compliment. I was limited. I was sitting here absorbing a lot of this information in my darkest hour where I couldn't function due to a intended freaking man-created bioweapon in my body. That's why I'm so on fire about all this stuff. But now I'm functional, and that's fueling me, and it's so important. And bro, don't get lost in you taking these steps are doing your part 100%. But there's a reason why I don't have kids and I'm not married. There's a reason why. I mean, God doesn't even need to speak to me, and it makes sense to me why he's put me here where I'm at in this moment of time. It makes sense to me now. It just does. So, like, I'd be derelict in my duty if I didn't answer that call. And I feel in a lot of ways in my heart and in my mind, I'm being blessed by doing this.
right.
And I'm so excited to have an impact. So by sharing, by showing up, by these other men or women listening and doing the same and sharing, that is doing your part. Help us do this part in connecting the dots and fighting back. And if you're like, I don't know, I don't want to attach my name and associate with this seems kind of conspiratorial. It's like, guys, please listen and please do enough research, just enough to feel good about it because our intentions are pure. We genuinely can set down our weapons across the board. There's no topic. Evil will have us believe that there's topics we can't go down. Evil will have us, and we might have a tough road ahead of us, folks, as we start putting all this content on all these different platforms, especially YouTube. The point we drop off coming into like the beginning of this conversation where you're like, dude, like you need to like you almost spent just caution my way, which I appreciate. It's like, shouldn't you educate yourself on what you can and kind of can't say to ensure? And yeah, it'll be a sad day when we get, potentially kicked off of YouTube. 'Cause no secret, sad in the sense that so many people are there. So it will limit our outreach to those that flock to that thing. That's why it's so hard. Like I'm trying to hit the ground running on, guys, you gotta start looking into these other, that's so dangerous. That is so dangerous. That means for everyone that continually goes there, in a way, you're agreeing. I agree to be manipulated by this platform. Every time you go there. Because it's a limited, it's manipulating through what it's allowing, what it's suppressing 100%.
Yeah, but again, it's the same thing as like, so when you have TikTok, so TikTok is made in China,
You
made.
should have kicked them in the butt and told them to do their part too.
Well, again, I gotta play devil's advocate. I gotta give you the opposite.
Okay.
Which again, you have YouTube, but then you also have TikTok. So many people have TikTok knowing that they can. Well, and I know every other platform can do the same thing.
I have yet to even watch. Really, I think I kind of watched a TikTok that someone personally sent me, but luckily it was able to play.
I don't have it on my phone.
I've never
I
done
don't-
anything further than that.
I don't have that on my phone. I don't have Facebook on my phone. I don't have Instagram on my phone. I don't have any of those Snapchat or whatever. I choose not to have it because to me, I just don't care for it anymore. I'm so much happier without those vices. But at the same time, like I was saying with TikTok,
Mhm.
I know that when you subscribe to that and when you go ahead and say, yes, I allow you to look through my phone, well, it also gives you access to, I allow you to go and look through my home information when you're hooked up to that Wi Fi. People know it, but they continue. They just go and say okay, and then automatically start watching everything in there. While
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know if this is true or not, but I mean, supposedly China's able to go and get information off you, and
Mhm.
it doesn't matter if it's ad or whatever what you like or not. At the same time, it's still information that's being taken and being recorded and put somewhere in some kind of database. It's not healthy, but people still do it. People still want to go in knowing that, oh, I have nothing to hide, and they still go and sign up for it.
Mm.
Uh, I think people are dumb. A person is a lot smarter than when you have more than one. If that made sense, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It allows you to think compared to when you see a whole group of sheep or herd.
Yeah.
They just follow wherever they're being directed, wherever the herder is taking you.
Yeah. I mean, I don't feel it's the threat because is looming as some say. People have made it seem to be with, say, even in regards to those user agreements on these apps. There's a part of some people's series that they're even touching on. Hey, and I appreciate the thought because it's worth thinking about, not just on our privacy sense, like what we could potentially be giving away.
Right.
Where that app, like, it's no secret, dude. This is freaky. Where technology, like on just a random app, like fun game app, in that user agreement or what have you, could essentially allow them, on a technical sense, even with your phone being off, accessing your microphone, your front and rear facing camera
That's why you can't
at
take the
any
battery
given
anymore.
time. Can't take the battery out. Is that by design? I literally now want a phone case that has a freaking shutter so I could at least have my privacy, like physical
Yeah, that's
privacy.
true. Do they have those?
I don't know, but how? We'll reach out to my guy and see if we can create that for these, where just a quick little shutter. My gosh. Like, wow, there's a lot of moments. Me over here picking my nose or something. Don't want that out there. No, and you wonder, now you wonder how politicians go in all bullheaded and strong and pro freedom, this and that, and then next thing you know, like, poof, they're caving to everything. You wonder. You wonder. But on a bigger note, on those user agreements, on a spiritual note, some are saying like, wow, could this potentially be the contract? In a way, you're selling a part of your soul. And it's like, oh, wow, that's an interesting thought. Now, the fact you're not aware in selling your soul, right? Like, I personally don't view it as a threat, but I'm like, still, it brings a different level of like understanding worth considering what's actually kind of taking place. Yeah. Okay, there was something else. Rewind just like a few minutes. Where were we at? This is one of my greatest challenges, I think, coming out of Lyme, with how it impacted my memory, even my thoughts, articulating words.
I think COVID did that to me.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
gonna blame it on COVID.
Defying COVID. But still, yeah. there have been prolonged kind of symptoms for many folks.
Yeah.
Lethargic, cognitive.
I wonder if
Well, bro, there's a lot of patriots having pretty profound like results with heavy dose ivermectin and all sorts of things. It'd probably be worth giving some of those things a go.
wait, after the effects, after that after like a couple years of dealing with it?
Yeah.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yep. That's why in a way I feel like my protocol with Lyme, I'm getting this sense of like being reborn.
Right.
Where I mean, I'm more than likely still going to have a level of limited function due to head traumas and things like that in my past. But Jesus's, so my 100% might not quite be here. But, you know, you find your 100% could be. But the thing is, like, you're functioning pretty good here. And as I'm coming out and being reborn, I feel like I'm landing compared to a lot of people I was viewing on function before is like, wow, to even get to that level. Like, you guys were all giving me hope that, well, with what I was understanding on the biowarfare side of things, that, well, at least it's not being that greatly impacted across the board because you guys are still, and you gave me hope because you're still seemingly solidly functioning. And then in a lot of ways, I don't want to say like out of comparisons, like I'm surpassing folks, but I'm just getting so giddy inside, and I feel like there is a part of like being reborn that with some of these doctors in my specific protocol, they're like, you don't even realize so many people that have gotten the jab, so many people that have been around the jab, so many people that have experienced COVID, whatever that may be, to be determined, and the seemingly prolonged effects. Everyone essentially could benefit from this protocol. Everyone. And you just wouldn't know. But it's interesting because I've already had individuals be reaching out about not even just the pharmaceutical capsuled ivermectin, but the paste form, legitimate like dewormer form for horses, like stuff is way more potent. That they're having all sorts of crazy positive impacts with cancer patients, Lyme patients. What do they call it? Long-term COVID, like long haulers, something like that. So, but it's cheap. It's cheap, and there's no. So it'd be interesting. We'll have to do some deep dives and maybe some personal testimonials and things like along those lines
You know
because
what?
it's on the cheap.
But I've never really sat there and actually researched ivermectin. But now you got me kind of curious, so I'm actually
Yes.
gonna go in. As soon as I get home, I'll probably go and check it out.
I have some sources actually.
You're gonna have
In
to send
fact,
those to me.
we'll even plug it right now because the reality of it is, they're trying to get that information out, and I have no problem doing that. Now, personally, disclaimer: I haven't dove into it myself, like their sources, so I can't speak from experience. Let's see here. I had an email even. Yeah, right here. So they're under on Rumble even under Dirt Road Discussions, ivermectin, in live chats, testimonials, Lyme disease parasites.
No way.
Yeah, so they start sending me these testimonials and these correspondences is to. So I was asking, oh, can you give me the source and like to get this stuff and like their protocols. Obviously, I'm interested in regarding the Lyme because they're saying like this is specifically why not dive into that because this is personally very fascinating because I've spent over 100,000 now in regards to my treatment. There's another protocol I still want to do that's over 75,000 more that I can't afford to do. But as it stands right now, with how I'm feeling, it just depends on the after effect. Say if we start getting off the current protocol, which is costing me a little over 4,000 a month, I don't even know. God's so good. I don't even know how I've been doing this. I had my Lyme diagnosis over 3 years ago, bro, and I haven't.
Right.
I don't even know. I don't even know how this is all worked out.
Again, man, like this right here is a blessing in disguise. I mean, everything that you're doing is like you're more positive, dude. I give you so much props.
Oh, bruh. Thank you. Well, so like right here, we're all parasites in the body. Yep. That's why it's a miracle medicine, patented and from Nature Prize. Yeah, Nobel Prize 2015 with 0 side effects. And there's really nothing under that's been under more like clinical data. There's more data on ivermectin than a lot of these other drugs that actually show it has less side effect than your aspirins and Tylenols. So as far if you're concerned, you should be more concerned about taking that
Right.
than this. So yeah, I will let my partner get back to you. Oh man, they had another one in here that even hit harder than that, but with testimonial. But whatever. Maybe for another time. We're an hour and 20 minutes in. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Time really flew by.
Dude, it's always cool talking with you. I mean, we did cover a lot of things. Like I want to get back on like, bro, I want to reassure you you are way more informed than most. And you know, that's one of my missions in a way to become more organized to where we can be more effective on having these positive impacts. Like I don't even want to like threaten these individuals. I mean, at the point you are a part of crimes against humanity and it caused like certain issues. I'm sorry, like there, you're you we I could forgive you,
Mm-hmm.
but you need to be held accountable, right? Like you can't just go murder someone and we're gonna just okay, I forgive you, but we're gonna release you in society, right?
I did not murder anybody right now. He's just gonna make it a point. But go ahead and continue.
Oh, I'm sorry if I made that so direct. I meant as we were even talking about certain individuals, right? So to kind of like take the pressure off of just I mean, I don't know, even though it's refreshing to hear Stu Peters talking about, you know, civil tribunals and military tribunals and, you know, lynching posts and things of that nature, like it's like, you know what? Yeah, I mean, you commit crimes against humanity. Obviously that could be a great but
I agree with you 100%. I mean, like you said, you need to be held accountable, but at the same time, what do we do for that to actually happen? I mean,
so it's a good question. That's what I'm challenging myself to get organized with. And I believe as this grows, we're going to get more connected. We're going to get more calls to action. And the calls to action for folks now, you're doing it, man. You're showing up here. You're having these discussions. You're very well informed. And just to continue doing what you're doing. Like we just had a discussion. You're excited to look into another thing. You could be a testimonial that could help other people.
right.
That could get them back to their functioning selves and join the cause, right? And like all that is important, and it's important like you have a great gal and children and you're I mean you're a caretaker to even your ex relation,
Yeah.
right? And I mean you're involved in so much and with your work and bro, it's important what you're doing on all those ends are good, wholesome, right? So as it is, like you're stretched thin, but you're showing up here in a selfless way. So cut yourself some slack, give yourself some credit. I know it weighs on you because you want to see freaking accountability. You want to see things operating as they were designed because we could be thriving as a country and as a world.
Agreed. You're right.
Yeah.
That's why we gotta go and actually vote this next year.
Yes. All of us.
Again, I think everybody needs to go ahead and self-educate and go
Yes.
ahead and actually see what's true and what's not. I
Yes.
think the more they do that, I do like exactly what Vivek Ramaswamy said. You want They should push it to age 25 for the voting rights, and anything before that, you need to take a test. I think that's awesome. I think that's brilliant. How many Americans know exactly when this country was built and know like the history of this country?
Wow, that's
But
pretty
then
wise.
if you have immigrants, when they're actually getting their citizenship, they actually have to go through a test.
A non-biased test, just a basic historical type of, yeah, whether, because now you're actually showing an intelligence, a level of intelligence that yes, like brings merit to your vote more so than a level of manipulated vote,
100%.
influenced vote. And it shouldn't, because that, like, why evil wouldn't want that to happen, but good would want that to happen, because it's like that, it's neutral. You could have it neutral based, so it's not influential in and of itself test wise, right? And yeah, because evil would want to not lose on the manipulatable individuals, but good wouldn't. Yeah, yeah,
If
that makes sense. Wow.
whoever wins should actually implement that.
That's interesting. Even on local levels, I heard yeah, there was a conversation. I think with my neighbor. I mean, he's got a sticker on his Jeep like, "Don't California my Arizona." And it's wow, like a lot of people in Arizona feel that pain in a way, because it's like, guys, we almost should enact a test for Californians or other individuals fleeing a state that is essentially dying, right, financially and all these other things, to another state that's still seemingly functioning in comparison, like way better. But what? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Um, to essentially test, or you either take the test or potentially your right is evoked for a couple years to actually give you time, because it's no secret that a lot of those individuals are fleeing, and they're bringing, some understand, so they're actually going and educating themselves. Like I'm not judging everyone, I'm just saying, but there's a mass of them that essentially is going, and they're not even grasping and connecting the dots, that it's their very way, like they've been thinking and the way they've been voting, that led to their state being that, and they're bringing that same ideology here, and it is going to have an impact for the
sure,
worse.
For sure. The only problem is right now we have Katie Hobbs in office, so
Yeah,
yeah,
that was a mess. That was a fiasco.
that should have never happened.
No, and I'll straight up say, on when I went in the day of, 100% filled out my ballot, went to the tabulator machine, rejected it. Wouldn't need it. Wouldn't need
Really?
it. Wouldn't need it. And I'm like, what the frick? And the guy waits and waits for this other one available. Wouldn't need it. And so he actually was trying to influence me to just, oh, most people are just doing this and dropping it in here and we'll tabulate it later. I'm like,
No way.
no way. I was like, and he's like, well, and so I got stubborn. I kind of got a little loud about it. And he's like, well, your only other option is to go back through the line. We could print you another one. I was like, well, can I at least take this with me to fill out the other one, because it will speed up my process? So it took me another hour to go through the process. I sit
Wow.
down, I do another. But what blew my mind is I sat there,
Right.
I'm sitting here listening, paying attention. Like 7 out of like 10 people, as I'm doing all this, same issue. Issue after issue after issue. Every now and then, I'd see and hear an individual go up to it and it accepted it.
So the second time around, did it accept yours or not?
Yes. The second time around.
Still, how long did you have to wait?
Oh my gosh. It took a long time. And then this caused back up in the line, right?
Right.
Because I was doing it, and there were some other people. The majority of the people, there was like only one or two other people in that whole process that I paid attention to that did what I did. The majority of them just stuffed it in the box, and walked out that door. But it was a deterrent because the line would even back up. People, you can only imagine how many people did a drive-by in that parking lot and saw that line and just continued driving.
Right.
You know, it became entirely oppressive to the whole thing, and it wasn't by accident. It wasn't 100%. And it was interesting too, because that actually caused me to look into the specifics. And I need to pull up these screenshots, but it's worth all of us actually looking into our voting records, ones that have been doing that for a long time. And what was crazy, even in the 2020 election, I found something extremely suspicious. I've always gone in day of, okay? That's just me personally, right? And it indicates day of. Gone in day of. All my years prior, day of votes, right? 2020's early vote. It was different. It had me classified as an early vote when I went in day of. I got the timestamps of communications about that day on my personal device that even supports that. So why is it recorded as an early vote? That goes to tell me, because everyone got things sent out to them, basically, whether they requested it or not. That, to me, tells me my vote on 2020 was fraudulent. And I could pretty much safely assume that it wasn't the intended individual either. Okay? So it struck, I mean, I already knew, I was convinced there's too much shenanigans going on. 2,000 mules. I mean, it is unbelievable that, to me, we had, like, I was just waiting for the day that we, at minimum, redid it all. Just redid it all. Like, there was enough. More than enough. And, I mean, man, some of these other patriots have done an amazing job covering this story. But, you know, it is what it is. We can't let it dishearten us and be like, oh, well, not showing up is going to be the solution. That is not the freaking solution. You, by not going, is literally a vote for evils to... you not going is literally a vote for evil.
See, the optimistic part about it this time is that I do see more Americans actually wake up and say, hey, I'm going to go and start putting my part into it. So we're coming around this next year. Again, we all better go and educate ourselves and then go ahead and vote, right?
Mm-hmm. I like how you worded that. Educate yourself first and vote. Not be manipulated. Not stay manipulated. You know, go educate yourself and vote. And an educated person, if they land wherever they land, you know, if they genuinely gave each side a full shake, did their research, you know, hey, wherever you land, awesome.
Right.
You know? But, yeah, there's preying on their heartstrings so effectively, deleting history, polarizing, like, I mean, communism, and, I mean, it's been, their tags have been very effective. Very effective. I won't even lie, my hat's off to them. I was like, wow. Almost respect on your tactics. Like, geez, well played.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, but my gosh, doesn't mean we needed to sit here and allow that to continue. We can show up. So, I don't know if I keep coming back to it because I feel like, man, I want to lift that burden off your shoulders and other people's shoulders and ignite that excitement as to the additional steps you can, in fact, do that aren't overwhelming. And stay tuned. We'll provide some more answers here on Unmuzzled. We will. We will. It's going to come. And some of them may even be through you with some information you share with me. Okay. So
Yeah.
we got this together.
Definitely. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
I'll be more prepared next time for sure.
Oh, don't even worry about it, brother. It's always awesome. It's always awesome to just even see you, hang out.
Yeah,
Now we're able to do it all with intent, which is awesome.
Agreed.
To all you listeners, keep your head up. Keep a smile on your face. All is well. We can unite. We could do better. That's just a fact. So let's choose to do better. Let's be excited about that.
Man's Search for Meaning. You guys got to get that book. That's an amazing book.
And he's got no affiliations, no ties. It's not like you're getting freaking a spiff or nothing.
Right.
Maybe he should reach out.
Viktor E. Frankl.
Yeah, it is a good
Amazing
one.
book.
It is. It's one of those books like you think you got it bad and you read that book, but not in like putting you down kind of way. It does have a pretty unique way of giving strength.
It makes you appreciate life.
Yeah.
It definitely wakes you up and actually says, hey, you know what? My life, it can be great. I still have that ability, that time.
Right.
Don't lose that. Take advantage of it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thanks for joining, guys. Bless you. I'll be doing an early morning one. We'll see you then. Take care.